What's up, guys? It is Monday, January 16th. It is 11:08 a.m. and today is the day. It's Davos, the annual meeting in Switzerland with all these elites, World Economic Forum. We all know about it. And we're going to just dive into it and see kind of what the schedule is, what has already been kind of announced, or what sessions have already gone live. And we're going to dive in. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'll be covering this every day throughout the day for any potential news that gets announced or any kind of narrative that's being built. So we're going to start off with Davos 2023, day one, what to expect. So we come down here, the World Economic Forum's annual meeting taking place in Davos from the 16th to the 20th of January. It's going to be all this week. And welcome to day one of the World Economics Forum annual meeting in Davos. Each morning we'll bring you a rundown of what to expect, the sessions you might want to keep an eye on, and an essential pre-reading and things that are good to know. So let us go to it. So a return to January. For the first time since 2020, the annual meeting returns to a traditional January slot after the C-19 pandemic disrupted recent years. We'll bring together leaders from across government, business, and civil society at a critical moment for the world. Under the theme of cooperation in a fragmented world, we'll look at how we can tackle the numerous and interlinked challenges the world is facing and find solutions through public-private cooperation. So sessions to watch. There are some arts and culture sessions today to open the meeting, with the full program kicking off tomorrow. Okay, so Crystal Awards Ceremony 2023, ICU, Open Forum in Harmony with Nature, launches and things to look out for on day one. Be sure to watch out for the following launches today. Chief Economist Outlook. The latest Chief Economist Outlook comes at a turbulent time for the global economy. This January's edition of the survey comes at a time of significant economic headwinds and explores the prospects for growth, inflation, and monetary and fiscal policy. It also looks at challenges businesses will likely face in the coming months and their potential responses. The electricity system. So electricity as the backbone of an integrated energy system. The electricity system is likely to form the backbone of the energy systems of the future. A new framework, Electricity Plus, highlights the opportunities to create and optimize integrations between the electricity sector and other infrastructure to enable a transition to a net zero economy. We have this Radio Davos podcast from the mountain. Check out Radio Davos every day for a taste of what to expect for the day and week ahead. In this episode, World Economic Forum President Boris Rende tells us what to expect from a meeting whose theme is cooperation in a fragmented world, and we hear about artificial intelligence that can prevent wildfires, the metaverse, and get a preview on the opening concert. Yeah, okay. So making a difference. We'll hear lots of the challenges the world faces this week, so each day we'll also bring you an example of how the World Economic Forum in Davos helps bring together people to make a tangible difference. So they worked with the United Nations to bring supplies to Ukraine after the Russian invasion, from warehousing to custom clearance. The LET has worked in Ukraine, Poland, and surrounding countries. You can find more about their work there. So let us hear it.
There are a lot of challenges this year. There's a very complicated geopolitical and geo-economic situation. I'm optimistic that Davos can play a positive role in bringing countries and companies together, realizing that we only can achieve things if we collaborate and stick together. We have all the right people in Davos to really try to find solutions in a fragmented world. We have 1,700 of the leading business people. We have almost 400 public figures, ministers, head of states, and also civil society. And what we need to avoid is that the world goes into a new recession. We need to recreate global growth. It has to be inclusive. It has to create jobs. But without growth, there will be no prosperity. And we also know that we have to stop the fragmentation that we are currently seeing of the global economy. We have to continue to trade with each other, to invest with each other. That's the only way to also make sure that we will revive economic growth. It is very important that we are prepared for the climate change that is coming by also adapting to it, adaptation. It's also very important that we are able to finance all the pledges made in Glasgow and also in Sharm el-Sheikh to make sure that the developing countries and emerging economies are ready to invest in adaptation, but also in the necessary mitigation, because we have to reduce the amount of CO2 gases being emitted. We are seeing a lot of people suffering. What I have seen is the unfolding situation in Iran, where women's rights are under huge pressure. We also know in the last weeks that the Taliban have decided that women cannot attend universities in Afghanistan. And I think it's important that in Davos we send messages of solidarity to the women in Iran, in Afghanistan, and other places in the world that see that their basic rights are under threat. We have seen the last decade that business can also be an agent for change when it comes to securing peace and reconciliation. So that's why I'm so glad that we have the key leaders of the West Balkans with us in Davos, but also they will interact with business. And business are sending a clear message. Peace is a prerequisite for growth and also prosperity. So business is really pushing the West Balkan leaders to talk to each other, to create a more integrated market. Asia is going to be very well represented in Davos this year. We have all the key Japanese companies coming. We have the Korean president with a huge business delegation from Korea. We also will welcome a high-level delegation from China. We also have key leaders from the Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia.
There we go. So as you can see, we have the climate narrative being built. It's been being built. So there we go. Let us dive into the next thing. So one of the articles is we must enhance cross-border data flows. Here's why. So as you can see, it looks like kind of like a blockchain. You got the grid, you got the home, you got the car, you got the roads, you got the windmills, solar panels, health, and they go into it. And they say that cross-border e-commerce has ballooned 45-fold in a decade to an estimated 2.7 trillion. Today, nearly 2/3 of global commerce is related to digital technology. Much of this wealth creation relies on cross-border data flows, a status quo that is increasingly under threat. To preserve and enhance the value creation of cross-border data flows while still protecting citizens, governments much work collaboratively to develop effective international alliances and cooperative relationships. Fragmented regulatory regimes are holding back what should be an even more transformative and life-enhancing digital revolution. So definitely this whole SEC case is throwing a wrench in the pace at which this digital transformation of the financial system, how fast it happens, right? It's clearly the case. So everyone has a stake in this issue. Industries that rely heavily on cross-border data flows, professionals and technical services, for instance, are among the biggest drivers of global growth. You have the emergence of smart factories and shipping networks. They're talking about going carbon neutral. So you have these governments and government advances have been joined by bottom-up initiatives from the private sector. In Europe, innovators like Catena X and Gaia X are developing data sharing platforms for the automotive and cloud services sector. Japan's Green Digital Consortium is working on similar tools to help businesses achieve carbon neutrality. That is definitely the narrative, man, like carbon neutral, climate change, all that stuff is playing a role in this overtaking of the financial system for blockchain and these digital assets. So we can go down here. The next major opportunity to fill the institutional gap will come at the 2023 G7 meeting, which will be hosted by Japan. So I wonder when that is. Let's see. So that is in May. So May 19th to the 21st is when that happens. So interesting. While respecting the rules of each country, we would like to increase transparency regarding which countries are using which rules and increase interoperability by increasing real-world examples of how data is used. Then you can go down here. It's talking about a global system for mapping regulatory information related to cross-border data transfers, certification of data quality, cooperation on privacy enhancing technologies. There we go. So let us keep going. Wow, they released a ton of stuff, man. They laid it all out there. All right, so we're going to dive into this technology pioneers and unicorns. So I just typed in here, right? Blockchain, right? And we can go and we can see, all right, we got Copper. So Copper, the chief executive officer, blockchain and digital assets. I believe they do custody. Copper, I believe, is partnered with XDC and a couple other big names that we all love. Now let's go into the next one. We got FinTX, which is blockchain and digital assets. I'm not sure what this company does. That's interesting. I have to look into that. And then we got Hedera. So Hedera Hashgraph. You got the chairman, Brett McDowell, blockchain digital assets right there, US. And then we got Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, chief executive officer, United States blockchain digital assets. All right, let's keep going. So you can see right there, Animica Brands. You got the CEO there, and then you have Chain Analysis is there. Who else? Circular. You got Copper. Yep. You got Crusoe Energy Systems using blockchain. All right. And then you got the FinTX, which is a self-sovereign digital identity. Then you got Hedera right here. And then Brad Garlinghouse. Sandbox is in there as well too. Also Yield Guild Games. Interesting. A lot of blockchain digital assets there, huh? So there we go. So we got a boatload of people that are tied up in this space at Davos. It's no surprise because it seems like cryptos, blockchains is all over the agenda. You had this is what the future holds for cryptocurrencies. I already went through this article. That was in the video I did. It was like 2 weeks ago. I will link that video in the bio because I'm not going to reread this. I will dive into the newest stuff that we haven't gotten to yet, like this. Why distributed ledger technology needs to scale back its ambition. So despite its promise, DLT has yet to prove itself in real-world applications. The problem is not with technology itself, but with the ambition for distributed networks to replace existing systems. The industry needs to scale back its ambition and focus on adding value to financial markets, not displacing it. Distributed ledger technology has been hailed as a solution to many different problems, from economic risks present in financial services to mitigating insurance fraud. But over a decade since its creation, despite enormous effort from large organizations, DLT has yet to prove itself in real-world applications. Recently, the Australian Securities Exchange scrapped its blockchain project after the better part of a decade in testing. Lack of global collaboration also saw IBM and Maersk and their supply chain management blockchain. While many pilot projects, especially those spearheaded by the BIS, have been completed with promising results, many questions remain on replacing current infrastructure with a digital tokenized format. The ECB, Director for Market Infrastructure and Payments, recently noted that these technologies have so far created limited value for society, no matter how great the expectations for the future. There is nonetheless an expectation that DLT can prove to be a net good for financial markets. Foreign exchange markets have an estimated $8.9 trillion at risk every day due to the final settlement of transactions between two parties taking days. This is why the FSB and the Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures have focused their efforts on enhancing cross-border payments with a comprehensive global roadmap. Part of this roadmap includes exploring the use of DLT and CBDCs. The problem may not be the technology itself, but the aim of replacing current technology systems with distributed networks. DLT networks are being designed to completely overhaul and replace legacy technology that financial markets depend on today. Many pilot projects such as mBridge and Jura rely on a single blockchain developed by a single vendor. This introduces a single point of trust and removes many of the benefits of disintermediation. Although the completed projects have shown great promise, the ability for one blockchain to communicate and transact with another blockchain remains a key stumbling block. So the interoperability factor. So integration first. Integration between DLT and existing systems requires interoperability between the two, and this is extremely complex. The cross-custodial settlement of digital assets is likely to be the most powerful tool that can be used to improve the development and integration of financial markets without having to wait for breakthrough technology that addresses interoperability. Digital asset custody providers are the only market participants who are tech neutral and economically incentivized to support as many blockchains and DLT networks as possible. With regard to issuance, transactions, custody, and settlement of digital assets, we already have the appropriate tools for financial markets. We should take advantage of these first and foremost. There we go. So Copper is a custody solution. A new starting point. The industry needs to scale back its ambition and begin to showcase the benefits of digital assets and distributed networks. The technology and development behind blockchains is extremely complex, but the basic principle upon which it relies, issuance of tokens and settlement and custody, have the potential to add a great deal of value to financial markets today, alleviating bottlenecks and counterparty risks. The blockchain shared the validated ledger is one of the largest benefits of using a blockchain as it increases transparency. It also dispenses the need for many institutions that slow down the settlement and ownership process. While financial markets still rely on transactions being completed within 2 days, digital assets are settled almost immediately. This removes a great deal of counterparty risk on the structural level. The problem, however, is that the DLT industry participants are aiming to establish systems without the need for such institutions from the very start. Expecting to do it in one fell swoop is unrealistic. This kind of change will take years, if not decades, to establish on a global scale. There we go. So you have the CBDC, stablecoins, you have the digital asset custodian X, Y, Z, DLT, XYZ, interoperability with DLT, mint burn on any change. Yeah, so they came up with a framework on how they can implement this in the current system. Then we had this going mainstream, 4 Web3 developments to watch in 2023. The global Web3 market was worth an estimated $3.2 billion in 2021 and has continued to grow. It's projected to continue to grow. There is likely to be a changing policy landscape for Web3 innovators and an increased use of decentralized social media. There will be more tokenization of assets and increasingly mainstream use of blockchain technology. There are many ways to define Web3, but fundamentally it is a decentralized internet owned by builders and users based on a blockchain. The global Web3 market was worth approximately $3.2 billion in 2021, and this is projected to continue to grow in the next decade as adoption of new technologies built on blockchain increase. Some consider this to be the internet of the future. In 2023, it is poised to continue being an important topic in public discourse. Expected Web3 developments 2023. The Web3 industry is evolving rapidly given what we've seen in 2022. Here are 4 areas to keep an eye on in 2023. Changing policy landscape. So there has been much discussion of regulation and policy approaches for the Web3 industry throughout 2022. Heading into 2023, it is likely this will continue with more concrete policy taking shape globally. In the US, 2022 was a year for reflection, research, and debate on what Web3 policy could look like. In 2023, it is likely that the outputs from President Biden's executive order on digital assets and continued advances on crypto legislation in Congress will progress into a clearer policy framework. More countries could also take the example from Japan and launch a dedicated policy office focusing on Web3 to establish more defined policy approaches. So then we got the rise of decentralized social media. One of the critical pillars of Web3 is the concept of decentralization. The idea that there won't be a middleman managing things on the internet as we now have with big tech. This will probably mean a rise in the popularity of decentralized social media in 2023. We are already seeing the beginnings of this play out as users join platforms like Mastodon. While Mastodon is not based on blockchain technology, it is intended to be decentralized and operates on a federated model. This could open doors for other blockchain-based platforms like Lens Protocol or Mines. Increased tokenization of assets. Tokenization can allow for almost any real-world asset to have a digital representation on a blockchain. The increased use of tokenization has the potential to revolutionize financial markets in most industries. 2023 will see continued increases in the use of tokenization, especially as more mainstream players like BlackRock and Goldman Sachs explore its possibilities. This could impact financial markets, but also other sectors with viable assets to digitize like real estate and entertainment as well. Then expansion of mainstream use cases. The first three trends highlighted all point to 2023 being a year in which Web3 breaks further into the mainstream. As the technology matures, there will be an increasing number of concrete use cases for it beyond that those currently excite early adopters. This will be encouraged by major companies that have already started to explore Web3, such as Starbucks, who announced their new NFT-based rewards program, Starbucks Odyssey, in 2022. In addition to traditional companies incorporating Web3 into their businesses, Web3 native use cases like Helium will also continue to gain traction. Very interesting. All right, there we go. So now let's go into the next one. Why we still need cryptocurrency for an internet of value. So let's dive into this. Cryptocurrency and blockchain are revolutionizing the exchanging of value as the internet did for the exchanging of information. However, the need for industry reform is clear. Cryptocurrency's use cases vary worldwide, with more uses possible with emerging Web3 technologies. The future of crypto markets can't be discussed without addressing the collapse of the crypto exchange FTX, whose failure was defined by broader organizational and economic considerations. While the cryptocurrency industry has experienced explosive growth in the past decade, it has had its fair share of setbacks and scandals. Like any new technology, every time crypto is shaken, we have to reiterate why it is here, what we proponents of cryptocurrency believe, and the purpose of what we're building. In the wake of FTX's collapse, a company that formerly operated a cryptocurrency exchange and crypto hedge fund, there is an opportunity for institutions to come together to put in place reforms, policies, and partnerships that build trust in crypto markets and pave the way for a global economy built on the blockchain. The Internet of Value. Crypto and blockchain are revolutionizing the exchanging of value, much like the internet did for the exchanging of information, and the journey will be very much the same. The cryptocurrency movement was created from the ashes of the 2008 financial crisis, with the belief that the financial system should be transformed to work better for everyone. Through Chain Analysis's research team, we spent a lot of time analyzing how ordinary people and businesses use crypto. We found that the use cases vary worldwide and span gaming, art, and even fundraising for war relief, particularly over the past year as support poured out for the Ukrainian people. In addition, crypto offers the ability to transfer funds instantly across borders without bureaucratic hurdles of traditional banking. Beyond these applications, there are emerging Web3 technologies that have the potential to unlock new use cases in finance that aren't currently possible due to the illiquidity of traditional assets, increase transparency and foster more direct relationships between sellers and customers, and bring decentralization to the business world by enabling community ownership. In times like these, bear markets, when improvements and innovations in crypto are built, cryptocurrencies have already opened up new markets and made the global economy bigger, fairer, and more deeply integrated. And we've only seen the beginning of what these transformative technologies have to offer. Streaming movies is a relatively recent addition to the internet, but sharing recipes has been possible for decades. Similarly, the maturation of Web3 will take some time. New systems bolstered by Web3 technologies have the unique opportunity to improve the lives of people left behind by our current financial infrastructure and formulate a more equitable future. The inflection point for crypto comes as our broader economic systems face headwinds and uncertainty. An inflection point. Right now, however, any discussion of the future of crypto requires addressing the collapse of FTX. FTX was not a crypto failure. It was a failure of an organization defined by a lack of transparency and closely held, centralized, and irresponsible power. This scenario is not unique to crypto and has happened in tech, finance, and almost every industry. Unfortunately, the FTX case had outsized ramifications, with many individual investors and companies devastatingly impacted. This inflection point for crypto comes as broader economic systems face headwinds and uncertainty. The crypto industry and financial sector, more broadly, must use this opportunity to take stock of our values and ensure we are advocating for a better, safer financial ecosystem without limiting innovation. The existing financial system isn't working for most people. Globally, 1.4 billion people remain unbanked. The macroeconomic landscape only proves that there is huge demand for new models of ownership in the economy. Transparency is key for crypto. There is an imperative for the cryptocurrency industry to harness blockchain's inherent transparency to build an economic system that holds itself to a higher standard than traditional finance. We've already proven that using crypto to launder money is an easy way to get caught. Research by Chain Analysis has shown that in 2021, less than 1% of crypto transactions has tied to illicit activity. With the right data, tools, guidance, partnerships, the crypto industry can hold its businesses and people accountable to protect consumers by design. No other sector of the crypto ecosystem embodies transparency more than DeFi, where all transactions are visible and the code behind protocols are open for all to see. The entire crypto industry should strive for the level of transparency, and already we've seen a wide range of valuable use cases. There's an opportunity for the crypto and broader financial industry and its governing bodies globally to collaborate and work towards standards of conduct, including reporting on reserves and other disclosures to ensure that the industry is doing its utmost to safeguard consumers. Regulators have the challenge and sometimes competing goals of keeping consumers safe while supporting the future of innovation. Striking the appropriate balance between customer protection and innovation will require close collaboration between the industry and policymakers across jurisdictions due to the borderless nature of crypto. Chain Analysis will continue to advocate for regulatory frameworks that protect consumers and empower innovators by providing access to data, expert analysis, and tools that contribute to a better understanding of recent events and their ongoing implications in the market. As with any new technology, crypto has attracted criminals and fraudsters, but they are not representative of the industry and shouldn't be allowed to define it. Crypto's technical foundation is open and transparent. As we continue to innovate and redesign new frameworks that address systematic deficiencies, crypto is crucial for ushering in the next phase of the Internet of Value for more financial freedom with less risk. There we go. The future of finance, spelling it out right there for us. We're at the inflection point, guys. We literally are. This 2023 is the inflection point year, I'd say. Then we have how the financial sector can spur the industrial economy's green transition. So there's a lot of green transition stuff in here, a lot of that stuff, so much of it that I actually am going to break it up into a separate video. So we'll do like a series over these next days here while the meeting's live, and we'll break it up by category to keep things kind of in a solid flow. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and come join the Discord. I'll put the link in the bio. It's free to join in. If you wanted premium access to the other kind of channels in the chat, you can get that access. But for the meantime, come join for free and say what up. I'll say what up too, and I'll see you over there.